No Country for Old Men is like one of the most beloved movie/books among internet people. Probably regular people too, but I don't know. I do not talk to them. There's a lot of reasons for this, but what sticks out to me that made me fall in love with it is the author's discussion of morality and our obligation to it in the face of extreme personal cost. Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I love most of you. One of you left a mean comment on my last video, and I do not love that person. If you missed it, this is my second video about the moral philosophy of Cormac McCarthy. The first one was about Blood Meridian, but you should be able to watch this video without having watched that one first if you've read both books. That is required reading for this course that will be on the final. So No Country for Old Men came out 20 years after Blood Meridian and explores the philosophy of morality versus historical law in a little bit of a different way, and concludes with kind of an ideological twist that adds a lot of nuance to the ideas explored in both books. To catch you up if you did not do the homework, moral law being the practice of behaving morally because it's the right thing to do, obviously, and historical law being the law of superior violence. Judge Holden in Blood Meridian talks about it a lot. It's the idea that the ruling force of the universe is the law of superior violence. Therefore, moral law does not exist, because to prove or enforce your moral law, you have to, he says, submit it to a higher court, which is submit it to the law of superior violence. No Country for Old Men follows three main characters. Llewellyn Moss, a cowboy from Texas, Ed Tom Bell, the sheriff of that county, and Anton Chigurh, a hitman hired by the cartel to hunt down Llewellyn Moss. The basic plot is Llewellyn Moss found a briefcase full of $2 million in the aftermath of a drug deal gone bad. He takes it and runs away with it. Anton Chigurh is hired to hunt him down. Sheriff Bell is trying to get to Llewellyn before Anton Chigurh can. Anton Chigurh as a character is comparable to Judge Holden. He's very evil, he's extremely powerful, and he monologues about his moral philosophy almost ad absurdum. Llewellyn Moss more or less takes the place of the man from Blood Meridian in that he's an imperfect but ultimately pretty much a good guy. He doesn't take the money because he's greedy. He takes the money because he wants a better life for himself and for his family. He returns to the scene that night to bring water to a man who's dying. He repeatedly puts himself in physical danger to protect his wife and other people. I think that you can make a case for Llewellyn Moss being a good guy. So Cormac McCarthy's arguments about morality evolve in this book from Blood Meridian. Anton Chigurh for most of the book is portrayed as a totally unstoppable force of nature, like a hurricane. It's only a matter of time until he gets you. To illustrate Anton's moral philosophy, I'm going to take you through two very similar scenes. I should be able to do this without spoiling the plot, but no promises. You should have read it. Also, both these scenes are different in the book than they are in the movie a little bit. So if you've seen the movie, you will recognize these scenes, but they will not totally conclude in the way that you think they're gonna. In both these scenes, Anton is sitting in someone's bedroom. They come in, he's there to kill them, and they know that he's there to kill them. They jump through similar hoops trying to talk him out of it. He goes, yeah, that's fun, what everybody says. They eventually kind of accept their fate. He preaches to them for a couple of paragraphs, and then he shoots them. Here's the first one. This is the guy speaking to Anton. Do you have any notion of how crazy you are? Anton responds. The nature of this conversation? The nature of you. Chigurh leaned back. Tell me something, he said. What? If the rule you followed led you to this, of what use was the rule? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about your life, in which everything can now be seen at once. I'm not interested in your bullshit, Anton. I thought you might want to explain yourself. I don't have to explain myself to you. Not to me. To yourself. I thought you might have something to say. You go to hell. You surprised me, that's all. I expected something different. You think I'd trade places with you? Yes, I do. I'm here, and you're there, and in a few minutes I will still be here. And I know something you think. You don't know what I think. You think I'm like you, that it's just greed, but I'm not like you. I live a simple life. Just do it. The phrase doing the heavy lifting here is, if the rule you followed led you to this, of what use was the rule? Here's the next part. Almost identical scenario. This is the last thing he says to this person before he kills them. Important piece of context. Earlier in the book, Anton, talking to another character, said, hey, if you don't do the thing you want, I'm going to kill this other person. That character did not do the thing he want, and now here he is to kill that other person. That's important. That's going to make all of this make more sense. He's going to refer to a coin flip that's famous from the book. In 2 occasions, he is there to kill somebody, or wants to kill, is thinking about it at least. And he goes, listen, if you flip this coin, you call it, and if you're right, I'll let you live. This person just guessed wrong. This is Anton speaking. I had no say in the matter. Every moment of your life is a turning, and everyone is a choosing. Somewhere you made a choice. All followed to this. The accounting is scrupulous. The shape is drawn. No line can be erased. I had no belief in your ability to move a coin to your bidding. How could you? A person's path through the world seldom changes, and even more seldom will it change abruptly. And the shape of your path was visible from the beginning. Do you see? The person responds, you don't have to. You don't. You don't. His response here is important. Listen. You're asking that I make myself vulnerable, and that I can never do. I have only one way to live. It does not allow for special cases. A coin toss? Perhaps. In this case, to small purpose. People don't believe there can be such a person. You can see what a problem that must be for them. How to prevail over that which you refuse to acknowledge the existence of. Do you understand? When I came into your life was over. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is the end. You can say things could have turned out differently, that they could have been some other way, but what does that mean? They are not some other way. They're this way. You're asking that I second say the world. Do you understand? Anton Chigurh is a keeper of historical law. Anton wants the briefcase. Llewellyn has the briefcase. Anton is capable of hunting down and killing Llewellyn and taking the briefcase. Therefore, from the second that Llewellyn took the briefcase, Llewellyn was already dead. Sorry if that's a spoiler. You should have read it. Anything other than that is a violation of historical law. It is disenfranchisement of the powerful in favor of the weak. To adhere to any other law, he argues, he would make himself vulnerable to somebody else more perfectly adhering to the law of superior violence. He's trying to avoid the mistakes that the kid made at the end of Blood Meridian. You could argue that No Country for Old Men is a kind of ideological sequel to Blood Meridian, in which the kid went along with the judge at the end of the book. Not literally, but like ideologically, because they're like set 200 years apart. That's why he says to do it any other way, he would make himself vulnerable, and that he can never do. Anton Chigurh sees fate as something binary. The decider between the 2 outcomes is historical law. Llewellyn Moss was always going to live or die when he took the case, and historical law was the decision maker there. Anton just views himself as a consequence of Llewellyn's actions. That's why to the first guy, he says, if the law you followed led you to this, of what use was the rule? He goes, if your moral philosophy gets you killed, then it's not a very good moral philosophy. Anton views himself as the consequence of actions. He kills people who follow inferior moral codes because those moral codes leave them vulnerable to him. This is evidenced by the fact that both victims plead with Anton to not kill them. They obviously do not live by historical law, because somebody living by historical law would never entertain the notion of not killing somebody for no reason. In fact, you could even argue that the victims pleading with Anton to not kill them is the confirmation he looks for that he is abiding by the right code when he kills someone. So Blood Meridian set out the rules of historical law, or the law of superior violence. No Country for Old Men is a meditation on what would it look like if we were to closely follow somebody who lives by that law. But in the final chapter, Anton, he gets out of this house of this person he just killed, he gets in his car, he drives away, and he collides head-on with another car. He isn't killed by the collision, but he is badly hurt. And obviously he can't go to the hospital, so he kind of just wanders off. And that adds a really interesting twist to the story. Anton thinks that he can inoculate himself from the randomness of fate by perfectly adhering to the rule of superior violence. When he gets I look stupid. When he gets hit by the car, I think that's Cormac McCarthy touring with the idea that there may be bigger things at play here. It may be more complicated than the judge and Anton Chigurh think that it is. No level of adherence to the correct moral code can make a person totally safe in the world, which is what Anton Chigurh wants. Adhering to historical law will not make a god of you. Actually, Anton he's just a guy. And just because you serve this god of superior violence does not mean that it will serve you. Keep an eye out for the series finale, where I talk about how Cormac McCarthy totally flips this all on its head in The Road, which is my favorite Cormac McCarthy novel. Also just one of my favorite novels of all time. That video should be out in the next couple of days. I literally say that every time that I shoot a video though. And then I road trip through the western states. That's where I was the last month. But be counting on that. Thank you so much for being here. Time is the new currency, and I appreciate you spending some of it with me. I love you. Bye.